Here are the behavioral changes that I really want you to start paying attention to that are just gonna help you to refine and be the best version of yourself. Hi, and welcome back to my channel. It is 2025. Yes, it is 2025, and we are all still here, thank God. But I really wanted to make this video because I'm so passionate about elevating me and elevating you as I'm elevating myself on this journey. And so all these things that I am talking about come from experience. It comes from things that I've changed in myself. It comes from things that I've seen being changed in other people and how it has just made their life change for the better. So if you want to change for the better, watch this video and absorb these tips. I love the new year because it gives people this sense of I get to create something new, where some people feel stagnant in the middle of the year for whatever reason. But I also want to remind you guys that you can start something new tomorrow, today, next week, 2 weeks from now. You do not need the new year to tell you that you have to become a new you. And if you start slipping on this new you don't throw away the whole rest of the year and say, oh, I'll start next year. Use every day as a day to get better. This video specifically, I'm going to be telling you how I became the more classy and refined version of yourself. Some people think classy is like a hard and rigid word, but I love classiness. I don't think there's necessarily anything negative with associating classy with something that you want to be. But for those who are looking just to be the more refined version of themselves, whatever journey that you're on, you really want to fine tune and try to be the best elevated version of yourself. I love talking about the physical glow up. I could talk about the physical glow up for all day, every day, and I'm constantly doing things to physically be the best version of myself. But you can put on as much makeup as you want. You can do your hair as nice as you want, but that is not going to make your behaviors change. And people really read your behavior. They don't necessarily just look at you for who you are physically and create the whole picture of who you are. It's a start, but it's not entirely everything. Here are the behavioral changes that I really want you to start paying attention to that are just gonna help you to refine and be the best version of yourself. The first thing is being quick to anger. In every situation, that is a negative trait. If you are someone who gets triggered easy, if you're someone who holds on to resentment, if you are someone who just lets the smallest things ruin their day, I really want you to start paying attention to what gets you angry and why you get so angry. Being refined is not associated with anger. Usually when you meet someone who's like super classy, super refined, they have a lot of patience. You will say things and they will not respond. You will say things and they will be slow to respond. And the reason that they do this is because really refined individuals know themselves really well, and things in their external environment cannot change the way that they think about themselves and the way that they feel about themselves. Being quick to anger just indicates emotional irregularity. You do not know how to regulate your emotions. You take offense easily to what people say, which means you don't believe the things that you think about yourself. So the next time someone says something that is meant to make you angry, think about where that person is coming, because every time you argue with someone, every time you let someone get you angry, you go from here being emotionally, energetically charged, and you bring yourself to wherever they are. A lot of people in this world do not work on themselves. A lot of people do not heal their traumas. A lot of people are walking around with so much hurt in their heart, and they are trying to spread that subconsciously. They don't even know that they're intentionally doing it. And social media is running rampant with a lot of people who are angry, who are hurt, and they let their words show that. So the next time that someone comments something hateful, the next time someone says something that you do not like, be slow to anger. This kind of segues into the second part, which is grace. And when I say grace, I'm not talking about your movements. I'm not talking about you walk around like a ballerina. That obviously comes when you start to heal yourself. I'm more speaking about having grace for other people. Giving people grace is a sign of emotional intelligence, it's a sign of refinement, and it is a very classy trait. The reason that you want to give grace to other people is because you have no idea what happens in other people's lives because you are focusing on your life, right? So when someone comes into the office and then they're in a bad mood that day and they say something and you get annoyed by it and you're like, oh, this person is angry, this person da-da-da, you are not giving them grace. You have no idea what their experience before they walked in that door might have been. So really refined individuals do not take it personally when someone else does something in their environment. They give them grace. Be forgiving of people. It doesn't mean you forget, and it doesn't mean that you allow people to hurt you, but you allow people the grace of forgiveness. That's something that you should start fine-tuning and pointing your attention to is, how often do I forgive people? Whether or not I forget what they've done, how often do I allow people to be forgiven? Because forgiveness, it is not for that other person. The other person doesn't look at you and say, oh, they forgave me, so they're stupid. It is for yourself. Because when you forgive other people, they are no longer hindering whatever you have going on. So if you're angry at that boy because he didn't text you back, forgive him. Because you're allowing him to get you out of your mind and out of your energetic alignment, and he's out there living his life. Forgive him. Let him be. One day, maybe when he comes back and you're like, oh, like I'm happy. Like you didn't affect me at all because I already forgave you. That is the best position to be in. Next, and this one is really important, so open your ears. Listening intently. A lot of people, I would say a majority of people that I meet, do not know how to listen intently, but they know how to speak a lot. It is great to be a great conversationalist. It is great to want to talk and have ideas and opinions and contribute, whatever it may be. But listening intently and listening not to respond, but to understand is a beautiful trait to have. And it is something that actually needs to be worked on because we're not always taught how to listen intently. You want to listen so that you are understanding the person, so that you are feeling the person. And people who are good listeners are oftentimes automatically liked subconsciously by other people because it gives the indication that you are paying your whole attention to them and you are making them feel special. I know that whenever someone listens intently, subconsciously, I'm like, oh, I like you, I'm drawn to you. And that is a really refined trait to have people being drawn to for something that they don't even know why. They don't even know how. Now, when you listen intently, it is a little bit different at first because you will be slower to actually give a response because you are ruminating, you are thinking, you are pondering on what do I actually want to say? A lot of people who don't listen intently, they have word vomit. Just anything comes off, they cut people off. Again, these are really unattractive traits. Subconsciously, people do not like being cut off. They sometimes don't like fast reactions either because it gives me the impression that you didn't hear what I said. Listen intently. When you think about being really refined and classy, some people are like, oh, like it's a facade. You just care so much about what people think. It's really not caring about what people think of you. It is really about the way that you take people into consideration around you. And I'll give an example. When we talk about volume control, the reason that you want to make sure that you're not being obnoxious and loud in certain spaces is because it's not what people will think of you for being loud, but it's the way that you're affecting other people. Other people who might be in the dining establishment who are eating and enjoying, and maybe it's their first date, and now they have someone who is actually distracting them from whatever they have going on because you have no self-awareness. So classiness is really about your consideration for other people. It even goes on more of like a physical level when you think about being a little bit more modest or being aware of what you dress like in certain spaces. It's not for you, it's for the people around you. It's for if there's children and say you're inappropriately dressed and there's children around and you're cussing and you're saying all these things. It's not necessarily about the fact that, oh, like I don't care what a kid thinks or, a kid's judging me. It's not about that, but it's about considering the people around you. So we really want to flip this like self-awareness, self-consciousness, idea to I'm actually considering the people around me. Being intentional. Being intentional is such a beautiful trait because you know where you're going. You might not know how to get there. You might not know exactly what the steps look like, but being intentional is a really great trait, especially if you want to be refined. They say that how quick you are to decide on a coffee order can indicate how far you're gonna go in life because there is a decisiveness that comes when we go through life. Life is a series of decisions. And if you're always taking too much time to ponder, if you're always being indecisive, you might not get to where you're going as fast. Life is about making a decision, running with it, and then pivoting. I really want you guys to focus on being more intentional. And I know that the minute I actually started acting on my intention instead of just sitting and thinking about, oh, I want to do this, maybe I'm indecisive about that, I don't know what kind of ice cream I want. Let it come out in the little things that you're doing. When you're pondering on something simple, make a decision. It indicates to other people that you know what you're doing, that you know yourself, that you're confident in yourself. And again, these are the smallest things, like something as simple as knowing what you want instead of just sitting there and being like, oh, I can't decide between this and this. It indicates to someone, oh, this person knows what they want. Like this person knows where they're going, even on a micro level. This next one is so important, but it's setting boundaries. Setting boundaries when you know that sometimes you will miss out on what you want is really important to understand. Setting boundaries isn't necessarily being, super hard or, kicking people to the curb. It's not putting up these walls. Setting boundaries is actually releasing the wall and allowing people not to disrespect you with that wall being gone. So I can love you, but if I set a boundary, it is because I know the quality of life that I want to live and I'm not going to let you disrupt that. When you set boundaries, you will 100% lose things along the way, things that you think that you want, even in a dating aspect. If you have certain boundaries that you do not want crossed, certain boundaries that make you feel disrespected, unloved, whatever it may be, when someone disrespects those boundaries, you're gonna have to let them go. And that is part of being a refined individual, or you might not even get to go down that path. And you may think, well, this is not fun. This is not fulfilling in life. This is, you know, I want to be able to date and do this. And like, well, this guy, he did this, but you know, he might not have done that, but he did some of the things that I wanted to. You're already going back on your boundaries. And that is not something, that is not a trait that really refined people engage in, because they know if they can't get exactly what they want in that situation is only wasting their time and prolonging them from getting into the next situation, which is probably exactly what they want. So setting boundaries, even if it means losing what you want in that moment to get what you want in the future, is so important. Imagine all the times that you dated someone in the past and you put up with them in the moment because you wanted company. So you didn't set up that boundary that I don't need company, I need partnership. And you look back and you're like, I can't believe I wasted all my time with that person. I can't believe I let this person do this to me and do this to me. And now I have a better situation. If you had put up boundaries, yeah, you may have been single and you may have been upset that maybe you didn't get to be with this person for the limited time being. But when you found that thing or that person that you were supposed to be with, and you're like, wow, I didn't have to waste time. I didn't have to give myself up in some ways that I didn't want to said person or said event or said whatever it may be. But I got to experience exactly what I wanted, but all it took was a little bit of patience and making sure that I was firm on what I wanted and where I was going. All these concepts, they come out in the little things that we do, but it comes from a solid internal compass that we have to develop. And some people have these already instilled in them. They don't even know where they come from. Sometimes it's amazing parenting. Sometimes it's great mentors. Sometimes it's the books that they read. But that's why I'm here, just to remind you that all of this is so important foundationally inside of you, because then you're gonna start doing these little things and you're not gonna know why you do them, but it's gonna help you to live a more fulfilled life. Next, you might not want to hear this, but being the refined version of yourself does not include excessive drinking. Now I know some of you guys are in the back like, well, hey, I can have a good time and still get XYZ done and do XYZ. I don't dispel that. I think that that is completely true. I think that both can exist, but I don't think excessive drinking really gets you where you're going. And I don't think it has anything, there's no positive outcome to excessive drinking, shall I say. Excessive drinking will just put you into a place where you're not necessarily in control. And once you lose control, you lose that refined version of yourself, because the refined version of yourself understands what they want, how to act, you know, how to engage with people. But once you lose that, because you're excessively drinking, you're now putting yourself back into a space where you are not vibrating exactly how you want to vibrate to get where you want. Excessive drinking is wasting time in certain aspects. If you're going out every single weekend and blacking out, it's like you are doing things that are actively prohibiting your growth. It is not making you feel physically good. And some of the situations you can get into when you're excessively drinking might not be positive situations. So that is something to consider. If you have goals or you're trying to go somewhere and you're still going out every single weekend and excessively drinking to the point where you waste your whole Sunday because your Saturday you drank and now you don't feel good and now you feel like you're behind, that is just really something to consider. I will say this at the top of my lungs. I will scream this to the end of time. Classy and refined women are kind. They are not mean. They are not, you know, bad bees. They don't have that mentality where they have to turn people away or give people the idea that they can't approach them. Like, that is not class. To be classy is to radiate a kindness, is to be understanding of people, and is to be open to people. Now, this is not to be confused with friendliness and being overly friendly and people pleasing, because people pleasing and being overly friendly, that is not a positive trait. But being kind, allowing people to come to you, being approachable, being able to acknowledge certain things in other people, that is a sign of refinement, because your kindness comes from a place of empathy. It comes from a place of love. Really refined individuals know how to love. They have great hearts. They have pure hearts. They have good intention. So just thinking about, if you really, really want to refine yourself, is how kind are you? What are you willing to do for other people? How are people able to approach you? Do you give an approachable vibe in the sense that your energy and your heart radiates kindness? That doesn't mean, some people just have natural RBF. I think that I do, but I am aware of that. And so the energy that I try to give, if I don't mind being spoken to, is kindness. I smile. I'll make eye contact with people. I'll compliment someone in the line. This is the last one, but it is most arguably one of the most important ones, but it's not engaging with people who are intent in misunderstanding you. This is something that when I was younger, I would bang my head against the wall because I'm like, I'm trying to get this person to understand this and they're not getting it. Why can't they get it? And I was wasting my energy. I was wasting my time. I was wasting my emotional capacity. And what this means is there are some people who engage with you and they have an intention and they don't care whether or not you're making sense. They just want to get their point across and they just want to get their intention. So if you are engaging with people who are misunderstanding you so grossly, you do not need to waste your time explaining yourself to them. You do not need to waste your time engaging with them. And I really think that this is clear on social media. You will get people who comment on photos, videos, reels, whatever it may be of you, with things that are so outlandish and so far wrong that you want to go and you want to make up for it and be like, oh, I'm not this, I'm not that. But the more that you engage with these people who already have an idea, a twisted idea of whoever you are, or in whatever situation that this may apply to your life, you're wasting your energy. You are wasting your time. You can take a horse to the water, but you can't make that horse drink the water. Okay, you can lead them there, but it doesn't mean that they have to drink, because some people on this earth are unaware. They don't have the patience, they don't have the emotional capacity. So it's like, as you're watching these videos and you're getting to be the better version of yourself, and you can look at your past flawed version of yourself, maybe you can understand why other people might not be there yet. Because people are intent in misunderstanding people because they just want to be heard and they just want to say things just to say things out loud into the ether, who knows. But stop engaging with people who are intent in misunderstanding you. And then I also want to add this on for the ladies specifically, but stop engaging with men who hate women. This is a whole other video that I need to make talking about this. A man who makes you convince yourself that you have to bring something to the table all the time does not see your worth. So why are you engaging with them? If every time you walked around you had to say, oh, I have a PhD in this, I have this and this and this, because they intrinsically do not like women. Hello. Okay, men who will go out of their way to curse at women, men who go out of their way to actively disrespect and talk down on women, do not like women. Okay, I said it there. So like, that's a little caveat, and I can make a whole video if you would like to know that. But so many women engage with men who actively hate women. Like, I can tell when a man hates a woman because he's like under their Instagram comments telling them that they're this and they're that and they should do this if they want to be a wife. They hate women. They do not like you, okay? I hope that you guys really like this video. I loved making this video. There are so many different things that I have changed in order to just elevate and become the better version of myself. And I really want to take you guys along this journey and just continue to give you things that I'm learning. And I hope that you're implementing them. And I hope that you enjoy these videos. If you guys have any suggestions on things that you would like in the future, feel free to comment them below, but I will see you in the next video. Mwah.